Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the WEFTEC Live Studio here at WEFTEC 2023. My name is Steve Spicer, and I'll be your host for this interview. I'm joined this morning by Kaushal Trivedi, who is the Business Development Manager for Water Platforms for Teledyne ISCO. We are here today to talk about PFAS and building a good sampling program, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
That's what we're going to talk about, yes.
Perfect. So the first thing, we were talking that everybody sort of knows what PFAS is in general terms, but tell us the history of PFAS and why we really should be paying attention.
Sure. So PFAS is also known as per and polyfluoroalkali substance. It was first introduced by DuPont when they introduced Teflon. And since then, it is used in thousands and thousands of compounds. And basically what happens that, it has a good property. It has a water repellent property, oil repellent property, as well as fire retardant property. And that's the reason it is used in many, many commercial products. It is used in our non-stick cookingware. It is used in waterproof clothing, electroplating, cosmetics, firefighting foams, and all these places it started getting used. And it started getting used before realizing that it is not, it has a danger, or it is not a good chemical. But during that time, decades of use of PFAS, when DuPont introduced in 1940, since then, decades of use of those PFAS chemical have contaminated soil, drinking water, and environment basically. It is, and the health concern has a lot of health concerns. And after realizing that it's a danger, basically the 8-chain or long chain PFAS, which is having 8 carbon molecules like PFOA and PFOS, they were phased out. At that time, they introduced short chain PFAS, which is a 6 carbon molecule device. And basically that is, they thought it's a safer, but it is not safer. So that is also considered as one of the danger thing. And basically your in PFAS is nothing but the fluorine compound is fluorine molecule is attached to the carbon chain. That's basically the PFAS component is.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. So then we were talking about the reasons for the sector and our regulators being a little more interested in this. Obviously it is a forever compound as its name, but tell us a little more about why we should be paying attention.
Very correct. So it is why it is known called as a forever, because the carbon and fluorine compound does not integrate easily. So that's why it is called as a forever chemicals. And since it does not integrate, basically it is concerning environment. A lot of concerns are there because it does not disintegrate. But at the same time, it is also bioaccumulative, and as a bioaccumulative, it grows in the living tissues. And that's why it has created a lot of health concerns, and it is related to many illness, liver, kidney disease or cancer. It also creates basically your insulin regulations. It also had, before the baby is born, and mother is pregnant, it also can affect baby's development or immunization. So it has created a lot of health issue, and that is the reason, it was once DuPont, when introduced, it was one of the good recovery for modern science. Now it has created national and global crisis, yeah.
And then, so we know EPA has the PFAS roadmap out there, and there's some drinking water implications for that, but there are also some recommendations for water resource recovery facilities in there as well.
Yeah, EPA is doing pretty good job. Just now, they have started with drinking water, and they have identified 6 PFAS that is getting generated in drinking water, and they propose a national primary drinking water regulations. And in that, they have set the limit, maximum contamination limit. They call it MCL. They set the limits. It's a roughly 4 ppt, enforceable limit. They have put it 4 ppt, and they are asking the drinking water guys to taste their drinking water. And they have also prepared the list of the labs, so they can, You can go to the EPA website. They have labs. You can, if you are drinking water facility, you can go there and test your drinking water. As far as the wastewater is concerned, they have developed the roadmap. At this time, they have developed the roadmap, and in that roadmap, they are asking POTWs to identify the industrial users they are expected or suspected to discharge PFAS in the water. And they want to identify, they want them to prepare a list, and they said then you should put it in their NPDES permit, and quarterly sampling program or quarterly monitoring program, you should put it in the NPDES permit. Now, that's on the industrial side, and then when it comes to the wastewater treatment plant or recovery facility, at that time you need to understand that they are not the generator of PFAS, but they are the receiver of PFAS. Having said that, what EPA is suggesting, because they need their help, and they are suggesting that they should monitor their influent, effluent, and their biosolids with method 1633. That's what they are suggesting, that they should do the testing. The reason is basically whatever it is coming to treatment plant is going to end up either in a biosolids or is going to discharge into the environment. So that's why they are requesting this facility to do the monitoring. Now, these methods 1633 and 1621 are still in draft form. They are inviting public's opinion. It's still in a draft form. It is not finalized, but it should be finalized soon.
And I think that brings us to the reason we're here. We want to talk about developing a good PFAS sampling program, and specifically how you can use an auto sampler to really help you accomplish that, right?
Yeah, that's a big subject. Let me try to summarize that. It's a very big subject. But basically, we are trying to achieve three objectives. Basically, no PFAS getting generated. So, we should control PFAS at source. So that's why we should monitor the IU's discharge or industrial user discharge. PFAS should be eliminated from drinking water. That's the second aspect. And third is PFAS should not be present when the treated water, wastewater get discharged, either in a biosolid or in a discharge. So for that, everywhere, for monitoring that, you need to do sampling. Now, PFAS sampling is little critical or needs extra care than your normal sampling. Why? Because the EPA limits are very low. It's 4 parts per trillion. So it's a very low limits are there. So any small chances of contamination can affect your results. So you should take extra care in a sampling. The second reason is PFAS is everywhere. It's in environment. It's on your hands, on the clothes that you wear. So PFAS is everywhere. As a result, you should the chances of contamination very high, and that's why you should take care in your sampling. So in the sampling program, the first thing that you should pick the right material. That should be the first step in a sampling program. And there are 2 categories of the items that are used for sampling program. The category 1 is the item that come in direct contact with the samples, like your strainer, suction line, pump tube, bottles. Those things come in a contact with they call it as a category 1 material. And category 2 material, which is not coming into the contact with direct contact with samples, but your clothes, boots, gloves, those kind of PPE that you wear, those are you are using during your sampling process. These are the category 2 material. For both category 1 and category 2, they are asking, or EPA is mentioning, that no fluorinated compound should be used. And what are those compounds? PTFE, or ECTFE, ETFE, PVDF. Those compound or those items should be avoided in selecting those in both category 1 and category 2. In category 1, there should be an extra care you should take. Why? Because it is coming in contact with the sample. So those items should not add any PFAS into the sample, or it should not absorb any PFAS from the sample. And the recommended material are stainless steel, HDPE, those kind of materials are recommended. LDPE is also allowed, but there's an asterisk. Depending on the state you are in, California is asking okay for the LDPE. Michigan is saying no, you should taste it before you use it. So depending on the states that you are in, the states are requirement there. Same thing is for the glass. California is saying that yeah, you can use glass, but not for longer storage. So if you are storing your sample for a short period, you can use glass kind of stuff. So it depending on the agencies. So material selection is number one step in a sampling program. Then comes that you have to prepare some reference or blanks, in your sampling program. Then there are three kind of blanks are there, and the first is equipment blank, which you are preparing that making sure that equipment is not adding any PFAS to your sample. So you run PFAS-free waters through your equipments and store it in a lab. So you do it in the lab and store it in a lab. Then the second is a field blank, that since PFAS is an environment, you take your PFAS-free water in your field where you're going to take the samples. You open the bottle and pour it in another bottle. So whatever PFAS is present in environment, it absorbs. So now you would know that what was the environmental effect on those samples. So you do that field blank. And third is a trip blank, where you take your sample bottles. You are not opening it. You are just taking while you go to the field and coming back. What is the effect of temperature? That's what you are trying to identify. Now I will say that if you are in a wastewater site, trip blanks can be avoided, but if you are in drinking water, you should follow these three blanks are there. So now you have prepared yourself. Now you are in a field and you are trying to sample, ready to do the sample. You have to take an extra care. You must wear nitrile gloves, and you should change nitrile gloves at every step of sampling. And when I say every step, when you open the bottle, when you close the bottle, when you start doing the sampling, every step you should change your gloves. So you should be extra careful. When you open the cap of the bottle, you should not put it on the ground. There should be HDPE sheet, or you should put upside down so that nothing comes, soil does not come in contact with that. So that's extra care you have to take. Now, once you take the sample, as per method 1633, it is asking that sample must be cooled down to 6 degrees centigrade. Now you can use ice, you can use gel packs, so you have to make sure that they are PFAS free. Teledyne ISCO portable refrigerator sampler is an ideal for that. It has a battery operated refrigeration system on the sampler, integrated in the sampler, and it cools down the sample right to 4 degrees after it is taken. Because the EPA 1633 also mentioned not only after taking the sample should be cooled down to 6 degrees, but throughout when you transport it or when you store it, it should be at a 6 degrees centigrade. So that's why Blizzard, Teledyne ISCO Blizzard is a great product for that. Now after you take it to your lab or take it to your facility and your lab where you're going to send the samples, if it is a remote place, you must overnight in a dry, and you should use dry ice while you are doing overnighting. And most of the labs, they have a kits, they develop the kits and they will provide you those kits. And some places you may not be do the overnight. In those cases, at least you should not store, first of all, you should store it at 60 degrees, but not more than 7 days. Within 7 days, you should send samples back to the lab. So I'm sorry, it's a long thing, but yeah, I try to summarize and yeah.
No worries. It was a lot of information, and thank you for sharing it with us. If people wanted to get more information, first, Teledyne ISCO is at booth 1416, so they can always stop by there and see you. What are some other sources? I guess my last question, what are other sources that people can look to for information?
Yeah, so EPA as well as local governments, if you go to their website, they have ample of information. So there's very good source for you. Teledyne ISCO also has on a website, we have provided the sampling guideline as well as the poster where, we have tested, we made sure that, our category 1 material are PFAS free. So we tested our product category 1 items in a third party, and we have provided those posters and results on our website. So you can see those on the website. Besides that, I'll say that, there are a lot of experts and exhibitors here at WEFTEC. Please consult them and to make sure that you are on the right path. Yeah. So.
Great. Kaushal, thank you very much for joining us here today. For everybody else, thank you for joining us here at WEFTEC Live. Please stay tuned, and we'll be back soon with another interview. Thank you.